It reminds me of this Leonard Cohen quote. It's a part of a poem, not a song, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard this before, but he says, so I must say it quickly, whoever is in your life, those who harm you, those who help you, those whom you know, and those whom you do not know, let them off the hook. Recognize the hook. So that's my invitation to you today, to broaden our capacity for compassion and, other perspectives, and see where that lands for you today. Find your seat. Let the eyes close. Let's tune into the breath in the body. Allowing the shoulders to gently soften down away from the ears. A slight uplift of the heart and through the crown of the head. And just noticing here for a moment, before we start any movement, what is here for you to be felt? What is present in terms of sensation in the body, or thoughts, energy, emotion? Just noticing without judgment. And so directing that compassion first toward yourself and receiving yourself exactly as you are this morning. It's interesting how quickly we can jump into the, oh, I should be feeling this way, or I'm critical of this or that. You just make some space for whatever is here. Beginning your Ujjayi breath, a little gentle engagement using the muscles at the back of your throat. So you're slowing the breath down just a touch and breathing in a more deliberate, mindful way. And then with the hands just resting gently on the knees. On your in-breath, go ahead and draw your shoulders back, lift up through your chest. So you're coming into a little bit of a back bend or spinal extension. And then as you exhale, go ahead and tuck your tailbone, rock back a little bit, hold onto your knees and move into flexion of the spine. And then inhale, let's bring it forward again, roll the shoulders back, lift the chest up. And then as you exhale, tuck your tailbone in around your spine, chin to chest. Good, and just move back and forth like that a few more times on your own pace and rhythm. So you're just mobilizing the spine a little bit here, muscles of the back. Good. And then coming back upright, now you're going to take this movement side to side. So just a little bit of wave-like movement or motion side to side. And I'm giving you some basic instruction, but feel free to move in your own way, in a way that feels organic and therapeutic to your body. Maybe you move this in more of a circle and come forward and back, or you could come into a gentle twist. Take another breath or two here. And then we're going to go ahead and bring the hands behind us, uncross the legs, plant the feet to the ground, and then drop the knees over to one side, a windshield wiper twist, and then back through center, and then over to the other side. Good. Just let your pelvis move with this twist. And if any of this movement doesn't feel good to your low back or to your neck or shoulders, then please modify, back off, or just stop the movement altogether. Starting to warm things up a little bit at a time. Good. Last round here. Perfect. And then we'll come forward now to the hands and the knees. And continue here some movement through cat-cow, and then moving into some hip circles. Shows you inhale, little back bend, open the heart. Exhale, tuck and round your spine. Good. Inhale, drop the belly, lift through your tailbone, open the chest. And exhale, pull navel to spine. And one more like that, inhale. And exhale. Good. Find your way back to neutral. And now we're going to take the hips in a big circle going clockwise. And we're going to do three-ish circles moving one direction, going clockwise, mindful of your wrists. If this is hard on your wrists, you can drop down to your forearms and just do a modified version of it. Good, now go the other direction, counterclockwise. Good. And again, what you feel in your body is much more important than my instruction. So feel free to override any instruction if it doesn't feel good to you. And then coming back to neutral, everybody, let's make our way into downward facing dog. So go ahead and push into the floor with your hands, lift your knees up, lengthen through your spine, let your head go. Make sure you can kind of shake your head no, and nod your head yes, so you're not squeezing the shoulders up towards your ears. Just soft bend in your knees, especially in this first down dog. Pull the hips up and back, navel draws toward the spine, and then start to pedal a little bit through your feet. Your heels may or may not touch the ground. It doesn't matter. Either way is fine. If your heels do touch the ground, you could kind of use this as a way to gently stretch that area, the Achilles tendon, the heels of the feet, the ankles. Just get a little bit of movement and stretching through those areas. Good. Take 2 more strong breaths here. Good. Now, on your next exhale, bend your knees, look forward toward your hands. Take a step or light hop forward toward the top of your mat. So you're in a forward fold, flat back as you inhale, so lengthen out your spine. Exhale, fold. Put that soft bend in your knees and grab a hold of opposite elbows for ragdoll pose. So instead of sitting the weight way back into the heels, see if you can start to shift your weight forward toward the balls of the feet and toward the toes. So you're aligning your hips over your ankles. And then you could sway gently side to side. Feel for a gentle opening and stretch in the low back.
Take another full breath here. And then exhale, release your elbows, fingertips toward the floor. Feel your feet on the ground, and I'd like for you to roll back up to standing. And so think about stacking the vertebrae of the spine, one on top of the other, as slowly as you'd like here. And then your head is the last thing to come up. And find your way here into a mountain pose, Tadasana. So rooted down through your feet, slight opening up of the shoulders and the palms, and uplift of the heart and the crown. Take another breath here. Then on your next in-breath, reach the arms all the way up alongside the ears. Maybe lift your gaze up. Exhale, slow motion dive forward, coming into your fold. Bend your knees a little bit. Halfway lift on the in-breath, lengthen. Crown of the head extends forward. Exhale, fold back in. Good. Draw the belly in and up. Come all the way back up to standing. So that reverse swan dive, where you can take the arms forward and up. Either way, look up. Exhale, hands together at the heart. Good. Let's keep this moving, everybody. Arms extend up on in-breath. Maybe a little gentle back bend if you want. And then exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees as much as you need to here. Lengthen your spine, so lift chest and belly away from your thighs and extend. Good. Now take your hands to the floor this time and make your way to plank or upper push-up. Now, building a little bit of core strength here in plank pose, or you can also come to the knees. Just do a modified plank if this challenges your wrists, your shoulders, or your elbows. Good. Take 2 more breaths here. See if you can press back through the heels of your feet and forward through the crown of your head, like you're pulling a rope so that it's taut. Your next exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Come all the way down to your belly. And then slide your forearms forward for Sphynx pose. This is one of my favorite stretches for the low back. So I want you to imagine pulling the ground toward your body with your forearms, and your chest and your rib cage forward away from the body. Feel for traction in the low back. 2 more breaths. Almost like a telescope, pulling the rib cage and heart forward. Good. Now as you exhale, release back down, slide your hands back next to your mid-ribs. You can press up through plank or hands and knees, either one. And then go back to downward facing dog. Excuse me, downward facing dog. Hips to the sky. Hips lift, heels draw down as the thighs pull back. Knees can be bent. It's much more important here to have a long, straight spine than straight legs. Good. Take 1 more breath here. And then on your next exhale, bend into your knees, look forward, step or hop forward, top of the mat. Flat back as you inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Good. Now bend your knees quite a lot here, almost like a chair pose. Keep your left fingertips on the ground, kind of in between your feet or just in front of your feet. And then stretch your right arm up toward the ceiling and straighten up your right leg a little bit. So pull your right hip back away from the right shoulder. Maybe take an extra breath. Exhale, bring your right fingertips back to the ground, bend both knees. And then stretch your left arm up toward the ceiling. Straighten out your left leg a little bit. Pull your left hip back away from the shoulder. Good. Back to center. Let's do that one more time on each side. Stretch your right arm up. Straighten out your right leg just a little bit. Good. And back to center. Left arm up. Straighten out left leg a little bit. Good. And back to your forward fold. Nice. Halfway lift. Inhale. Take hands to the ground. Step your way back to your plank pose once again. Or you can come to the hands and the knees. Lower down, chaturanga. Good. This time we're going to take the arms back along our sides. Point your toes. And inhale, lift up into a little locust pose. Another really great pose for the low back. Little strengthening muscles around the back, around the low back and the spine. Shoulders pull back, lift up through your chest. Don't worry about how high your legs are. You don't have to be very high. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, release. Again, slide your hands back next to your midribs. Press back up, plank, or hands and knees back to downward facing dog. Feeling the ground with both hands. Take your right leg and reach it back behind you and up toward the ceiling. Take an extra breath here and then bend your right leg, and if it feels okay, lift your hip and your knee up. So you're keeping your arms and your shoulder girdle really steady, but kind of lifting that right hip higher than your left. Keep your left foot stable on the ground. Take one more breath. Good. And then we're going to step that right foot through into a lunge and come down to the back knee. Okay, if you need to pad your knee, double up the edge of your mat or use a blanket, you can do that. And then extend and lengthen up through both arms. As the tailbone lengthens down, fingertips and the heart reach up. Bend your elbows here. So we're going to open up the chest and just give a little more freedom to the shoulders and the heart. See if you can shift your hips just a little bit more forward. Feel for a stretch in your back thigh. And then turn the chest a little more open. Take another breath. Good. Now, fingertips back to the ground. Keep your left hand down and send your right arm up for a twisting lunge. Push into the ground with your right foot. Now, you can keep it here or tuck your back toes under and pick up your back knee, coming into a twist with that back knee lifted. Fire up that back leg if the knee is off of the mat. Take a couple more breaths here. Pull navel to spine, wring it out, take one last breath, and exhale, bring the right hand back to the floor. Now listen carefully, you're going to shift your weight forward into your front leg, pick up your back leg, and lift it way up for standing splits. Now, fingertips can stay on the ground, or if you happen to have a block, you can do that. Or maybe you want to try to hug right hand and forearm back behind your right calf and fold it in. Good. Keep breathing here, everybody. Take one more breath. Now, fingertips back to the floor. Pull your left knee in toward your chest. Step your foot to the ground next to your right foot. So now you're in a standing forward fold. Bend your knees and come into a little squat. We're going to try to stretch out our heels because it was requested. This is all I got, you guys. No. Okay, so you're going to come into a little squat here and see if you can hug your arms around your knees, like a little potato bug ball. And as you do this, you can start to draw your heels a little bit closer to the ground. Good. And then from here, we're going to move into what's called Malasana. So this is another squat, but we're gonna stretch out the legs for just a second and take the feet a little wider and turn the toes more out. Okay, just at a slight angle, and then bend the knees and drop down into a squat. So the the heels are on the ground, and the palms can come together, the chest. If the heels don't come all the way down, that's okay. You can also choose to sit on a block or like a little cushion. Squeeze the knees in toward the outsides of the arms and take another breath here. Good. Now we're going to turn this into crow pose or Bakasana. So the hands are going to come to the ground, kind of out in front of you. Lift up through your hips. See if you can work your knees to your triceps or up toward your armpits. Look forward. Press into the floor with the pads of the fingers and the palms. And maybe take your feet off of the mat. It's okay if it doesn't go off of the mat this time. Keep your core really strong and lift it. Pull the belly in, navel to spine. Take another breath. Good, you guys. You got it. And step it all the way back. Downward facing dog. Good. And just child's pose is always an option. Okay, so keep that in mind. Coming back to our downward dog. Take the left leg in the air. Stretch it back, reach it up. Take an extra breath here. Reaching through the leg and the toes. Bend the left leg. Lift your hip up. So again, keep both hands firmly rooted, shoulder girdle steady. Opening left knee out to the left, lifting the hip up. Take another breath. And then step that left foot through, coming down to the right knee. Double up the mat or get cushion under the knee if that's helpful. Square off the hips and take the arms up. So tailbone lengthens down, fingertips and crown reach up, create length along your spine first. And then we're going to bend the elbows, creating some freedom and space in the shoulders and the base of the neck. Good. Now, if you can, shift your hips forward a little bit. Feel for a stretch in your back thigh. If that bugs your low back, then pull your hips back. Okay? And then we're going to start to open up the chest. Try to pull lowest tips of shoulder blades toward one another. Take one more breath here. Good. Stretch arms back up. Fingertips down to the floor. Now, the right hand will stay down, and the left arm will stretch up for a twisting lunge. Same option here. You can keep that back knee down or tuck your toes under and pick up that back knee. Really engage through your quad. Squeeze your inner thighs toward midline and continue to open up the chest here. Good. Take 2 more breaths here. Strong and engaged, opening the chest toward that left side. Beautiful, you guys. Exhale, left hand comes down. Now we're going to shift the weight forward into the left leg. So shift your weight forward, pick up your right leg. Left foot roots down as you fold it in. Now, again, fingertips can stay where they are. You could use a block here, maybe take the left hand and forearm back behind your calf and start to fold it in. Good. Take another full breath here. Nice. And now bring your fingertips back to the floor. Pull your right knee in toward your chest. And step your foot next to your left so you're coming into that standing forward fold. And again, we're going to bend the knees and come into a little squat, little potato bug ball. So as you bend your knees and squat down, hug around your knees if you want to work with that little balance as you draw your heels a little bit closer to the ground. Good. Take another breath here. Good. Now, fingertips back to the floor. You're going to straighten out the legs. We're coming back into Malasana one more time. Feet a little wider. Turn the toes out some. Bend your knees. Come back into your squat, this time with the heels grounded and the feet a little bit wider. Squeeze your knees around your arms. Palms can come together. Good. Now you can keep it here. Just working on strengthening a little bit through the ankles, knees, drawing the hips down, a little stretch of the groin. Or if you want to try one more crow pose or Bakasana, work your hands to the ground, lift your hips up, and your knees move up toward triceps. Keep your head lifted, so don't look down or behind you, because then you'll be more likely to do a somersault. But pick up your hips and look forward, strong through your core, maybe pick up your feet. Beautiful, you guys. Strong core. Now bring your feet back down, and you're just going to come into a ragdoll pose. Okay, so standing forward fold. Hold opposite elbows. You can keep it here, or you can come into this gorilla stance where you slide your hands underneath your feet, standing on your hands, standing on your palms, a little wrist stretch. So your toes up toward the wrist joint here. Again, let's shift the weight slightly forward toward the balls, the feet toward the toes as you fold it in. Good. Release out of that. And let's roll all the way back up to standing. Keep a little bend in your knees. Stack the vertebrae. Roll the shoulders back. Bring back into this mountain pose. Nice job, everybody. Doing okay? Yeah? Okay, all right. Arms reach up, inhale. Now as you exhale, we're going to bend the knees and come into a chair pose. Palms come together at the heart. Now, keep your legs steady, your core strong, and you're going to twist this to your right. So keep your feet rooted down, use your core, twist towards your right. Now, you can place your left elbow on your right knee if you want, or you can take your left forearm down and rest it on both knees. Try to keep your knees and your shins level. So this is different than the twist we were doing before. Now, if you want to open up your arms here, spread the arms, right arm up, left arm down, you can do that. Take 2 more deep cleansing breaths here. Shins, knees, thighs level. Send a sigh out your mouth. Exhale, forward fold. Just give this a moment, shake your head out a little bit. And we'll do that on the other side. So you're going to bend your knees, sit on back to your chair. Send your arms up, strengthening the legs a little bit here, palms together at your heart. Now use your core, twist to your left. Twist to your left. Maybe place your right elbow on your left knee or your forearm down on both knees. Opening up your chest towards your left, spreading the arms if you'd like. Good. 2 more cleansing breaths here. Knees, shins, thighs level. Keep your knees bent. Good. Sigh out your mouth. Exhale back, forward fold. Good, you guys. Now, halfway lift, inhale. Take hands down. Step, or you can hop it back, plank pose. Hold for a moment.
exhale, chaturanga. And this time, well, you can always go back to Sphynx or locust, or you can move into a cobra. So opening up, still creating traction. Pull the rib cage and the heart forward, elbows stay bent, and then exhale, press it on back, downward facing dog. Good. Now let's take the right leg back again, reach it up. Bend the leg, open up your hip. Take an extra breath here. Draw your left heel toward the floor. Step the right foot all the way through and come into a warrior two pose. So we'll ground the back heel and extend the arms out. Push firmly through both feet into the ground. You can soften and relax a little bit through the shoulders, the neck here. Good. Turn both palms up toward the ceiling. Put a soft bend in your elbows. Deepen into your lunge a little bit. Lift up through your chest. Then as you exhale, let's take the arms down and clasp the hands behind the back. Open up through the shoulders, lift through the chest. As you exhale, come to ostrich pose or humble warrior variation. Drop down, right shoulder toward the inside of the right knee. Now, you can keep the clasp, or you can always bring the hands down to the floor for a little more support and stability. A couple more breaths here. Good. Continue to pull both thighs back. Let your head go. Now, on your next exhale, release your clasp. Bring your hands down. Keep the legs as they are. Right toes forward, right leg bent like a warrior two. Walk your hands forward off of your mat, kind of toward the front left diagonal. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, you can take a look up here. And I'm going to push my hands into the ground and pull the hips back almost like a down dog, but I'm in a lunge. And feel for a stretch in your right hip, maybe that right side of your lower back. A couple more breaths here. Nice. And now we're going to walk the hands over to the left and spin the right toes. So we're in a wide straddle, forward fold. Take an inhale and stretch out your spine, lengthen it. And then exhale, fold it in. Prasarita Padottanasana. This wide straddle, forward fold. Root it down through your feet, pulling in and up at the belly. A couple more breaths here. Again, try to let all tension and effort out of your upper body. Shoulders, neck, jaw, face. Just let it go. Good. On your next in-breath, come to a flat back. Extend and lengthen. Connect to your core. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips, and we're going to come all the way up to standing. Good. Turn the right toes forward again. Setting up for a triangle. Utthita Trikonasana. So lengthen out through your arms. We're going to reach forward as far as you can, like you're trying to touch something just out of reach. Maintain that length, use your core, and then tilt it over. Right hand comes down. If you have a block handy, that's a really nice option, or you can press your hand on your shin or the back of the hand to the inner right leg. Push with your back foot, lengthen through your spine and broaden your wingspan. Right fingertips down, left fingertips reach up. Take one more breath here. And then take your left arm forward alongside your ear and stretch out that left side body. Pull that left hip back a little bit away from the shoulder.
And then exhale, bring your left hand down to the ground or a block. Now listen carefully. The back foot is going to step forward a few inches and the toes will turn more forward. Like a pyramid pose, we're going to square off the hips. Left fingertips stay down. Right arm will reach up for a revolved triangle pose. So ideally we want both heels on the ground. As the hips square off, continue to hug that right hip and thigh back as the right fingertips reach toward the sky. Opening up the chest toward the right side of the room. Notice your breath here, everybody. Don't push it. Oh my gosh, a little hummingbird. Little hummingbird was looking at me in the window. If you saw it on the video. Take one more breath here. Cleanse and wring it out. Exhale. Right hand comes down. Now, extend your right leg back behind you again. So the right leg floats back, three-legged down dog. Bend your leg and open up your hip. Stretch it out. Bring the right leg into Pigeon Pose. This is my Sunday gift to you, Pigeon Pose. So I'm going to give you two options, well, lots of options for pigeon. You can always take this on your back in a figure 4 or a seated double pigeon. But beyond that, you can do this kind of garden variety, regular pigeon pose that we typically do, or you can do a thread the needle variation. So if you're coming into just this regular pigeon, you'll come down onto your forearms and just let the body come down. If you're doing the thread the needle version, the right hand will go forward, the left arm will go out to the left, and then you'll thread the needle, left arm underneath your right, and drop down to the left shoulder and the left side of the head. It's a little bit of a deeper stretch through that outer right hip and piriformis and into the glute perhaps, and like a twisting pigeon. But you can do whatever version you'd like. We'll stay here for about 5 more breaths. And see if you can really target or move the breath, target the breath to those areas where you're feeling this the most today. And notice perhaps where you can continue to soften and release and let go. Good. Last breath here. And we'll just gently unwind out of that. Coming back upright. Now shifting over to the right hip. So sit down all the way over to the right side. This back leg, the left leg, is going to swing around, cross it up and over. So left leg over your right. Now, option here to stretch your bottom leg forward. Okay, so your right leg can go straight forward if it feels like it's too much to have both legs bent. You want to really try to ground evenly through the sits bones here. Left fingertips behind you. Stretch your right arm way up and create some length. And then we'll take elbow to knee or hand to knee and twist to your left. Good. Take a couple more breaths here, everybody. Good. On your last breath, sit up a little bit taller on the in-breath, and then maybe send a sigh out your mouth. That cleansing and release. Come back out of that. Unwind, uncross, feet to the floor, and let's just take a couple of little windshield wiper twist like we were doing at the beginning of practice. Just that gentle movement back and forth. Good, perfect. All right, coming back forward to hands and knees. Whenever you're ready, everybody, downward facing dog. Knees lift up. Pedal it out a little bit. Coming back to our home base of sorts. And then extending the left leg back. Reach it up, long and lengthened. Bend your leg, open up through your hip. Maybe take an extra breath, draw that right heel down. And then step that left foot through, coming into a warrior two. The same sequence we did on the other side. Extend out through your arms, strong legs, strong torso here. You can gaze forward. On your exhale, maybe deepen into that lunge and really focus your attention long through your spine. And then we're going to rotate the palms up, put a little bend in your elbows. And notice how that affects your shoulders, or if it affects your shoulders. Good. And then the arms will come down and we'll clasp the hands behind the back. Lift up through your chest. And then taking ostrich or humble warrior. So the legs stay the same, but we're going to dive forward, left shoulder toward the inside of that left knee. Continue to draw both thighs back, head releases down. Option to release the clasp and bring your hands to the floor. Good. For me, this is a really great stretch for my low back. Release your clasp now, everybody. Bring your hands down. The legs don't change, but we're going to walk the hands off the mat and forward toward the right diagonal. As we push into the ground, pull the thighs back, almost like a down dog. So we're continuing to create length from fingertips out through your tailbone. Take another breath here. Good. And then walk your hands all the way to the right and spin your left toe. So now you're back in a wide straddle. Take an inhale and elongate the spine. Exhale, fold. Okay. Now, option here to reach for your big toes, the first two fingers of each hand, and fold it in. Or you could unweight your hands entirely and reach the hands behind you and clasp your hands, coming into one of these different variations of our wide straddle. A couple more breaths. And we're still intending to let go of the upper body, the shoulders, the neck, the jaw. Good. Release your clasp if you've got it flat back as you inhale. Strong core, hands to hips, all the way upright to standing. Perfect. Turn your left toes forward. Re-extend the arms. We're setting up for Trikonasana triangle pose. So reach the left arm and the fingertips forward as far as you can go. Create space and then tilt it over. Left hand to shin. Or again, you can take the back of that left hand to the inner left leg. Good. Spread the arms out wide. Keep the spine long. Broaden your wingspan here in your triangle pose. Good. And then extending the right arm forward alongside your ear. Stretch out through the right side body. Pull your right hip back a little bit away from the shoulder. Right hand comes down to the ground. Step your back foot forward a few inches. Turn the toes more forward. Square off the hips and extend your left arm up for Revolved Triangle. Again, ideally we want both heels down and hips square, left arm reaching up. Good. Continue to breathe here, everybody. Full and expansive cleansing breaths. Take one more here. Open it up. Exhale, left hand comes down. Step or extend your left leg back behind you. Reach it up. Three-legged down dog. Bend your leg and open to your hip. And then we're going to set up for pigeon on this left side. So left leg through, left knee and shin move forward. You have all those same options. You can recline, take figure 4, or double pigeon seated, or you can do this thread the needle variation, or you can just do regular pigeon. So with thread the needle, the left hand comes forward, right arm stretches out, and then we're going to thread the needle and drop down to the right shoulder, the right side of the head. Left arm can extend forward. Good. Keep breathing here. We'll stay here for a bit. Find a place that you can kind of rest in and not be all gripped up. Soften through your jaw and your face, your neck. Good. Take one more breath here, everybody. And then we're going to unwind out of that, back to your upright position. Shift all the way over to your left hip. Swing your right leg all the way around. Cross your right leg over your left. Again, option to stretch your left leg forward instead. Or keep it tucked in. Right fingertips behind you for support. Stretch and lengthen your left arm up. And then you can bring elbow to knee or hand to the knee for your seated twist. Press down through the right hip and sits bone. Lengthen through your spine. Good. Take one more breath, sitting up a little bit taller, bringing it out. Awesome. And then you'll unwind, uncross, and roll down onto your backs. Keep your feet, well, let's hug the knees in. Everyone wants to do that, right? Okay, hug the knees in, rock side to side. Let's do this for a second. Nurturing low back, little massage, or circling. Good. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet back to the ground a little bit wider than the hips. Stretch your arms out wide like wings. Drop both knees over to the right for windshield wiper twist. Maybe turn your head to your left. And then come back up through center and drop your knees to your left and turn your head to your right. Good. And then on your own time and rhythm, just go back and forth. Couple more times. There's no rush. If the stretch feels really good to you, you want to hang out there for a few breaths. In the twist, that's fine, or you can move with each breath. Good. Now, the next time your knees drop to the right, I want you to pause there for a moment. Pick up your right foot and ankle and let it rest on top of your outer left leg or knee. So your right leg is kind of putting a little bit of pressure on your left leg, and give this a couple breaths. Good. Keeping the right ankle still on top of that left leg. Bring both knees back up through center, and you should be in a figure 4. So right leg over left. You can keep it as is, or pick up your left foot and hold on to the back of the thigh or the shin, whatever works. Another really nice back release pose, this reclined figure 4. Feel free to rock this side to side or keep it still. It's up to you. Release any tension in your neck, your shoulders. And let's go ahead and release out of that. Uncross the legs, feet wide. Drop knees to your left. Pick up your left foot and ankle. Let it rest on top of your outer right leg for a few breaths. So your left leg is putting a little gentle pressure on your right leg. Take another breath. And then keeping the left leg crossed over the right, bring both knees back up through center. You're in a figure 4 on your left side. Left leg over right. You can keep the right foot down or pick it up and hold on to your right leg for a little more emphasis. And again, you can choose to rock this side to side or hold it steady. This little back release. Good. Give this another breath. And we're going to go ahead and release and uncross the legs. Stretch both legs out to the floor. Reach the arms up and back. And then release the arms back down along your sides. You can surrender here in Shavasana, corpse pose. In Shavasana today,
working with a little loving kindness, compassionate meditation. So I'm going to repeat a loving kindness phrase here, a little mantra. I'd like for you to direct it to yourself for this first time through. May I be safe and protected and free from inner and outer harm. May I be happy and contented. May I be healthy and whole to whatever degree possible. And may I experience the ease of well-being. I'd invite you to just hold in awareness someone in your world, in your life, in your circle who is suffering, or who is struggling in one way or another, health-wise or whatever it might be, and hold this individual in awareness and direct this loving kindness mantra to this individual. May you be safe and protected and free from inner and outer harm. May you be happy and contented. May you be healthy and whole to whatever degree possible. And may you experience the ease of well-being. Now expanding, broadening our lens one more time to include all beings everywhere without exception. May we all be safe and protected and free from inner and outer harm. May we all be happy and contented. May we be healthy and whole to whatever degree possible. And may we all experience the ease of well-being. May we be at peace. May we all be at peace. May all beings be at peace. As you feel ready, you can begin to expand and deepen your breath and start a little bit of movement through the fingers and the toes, and make your way over to your side into a fetal position. And then all the way back up to your seat on your mat. On your next in-breath, let's reach the arms all the way up, stretch up tall. And hands gather together at the heart. Thank you so much for practicing with me today in this practice of compassion and kindness. We'll finish with one round of Om, followed by 3 Shantis, which means peace. You're welcome to join in, or you can just listen. Take a full breath in. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste.